This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Whispers Racing Podcast, Aurie Star Day at Flemington. As always, I'm joined by Matty. How are you, Matty?
Going well, Worm. Probably not going as well as you. It's a bit chilly in Melbourne.
Yeah. I'm live on location from Cairns, thanks to all my winning bets this week.
Oh, mate, shame I can't be joining you up there, but good to see you enjoying yourself.
Yeah, mate. Yep, 3 years in the making, thanks to the beauty of COVID. Finally got away and, just snuck away to record a winning set for us.
Mate, fair to say that Queensland has been treating you exceptionally well. You look a very relaxed man, and this week the bank balance is looking very healthy as well.
Yeah, I've had to have a chat to the missus and tell her that we won't be leaving until we have a losing set.
Might not see you back here for a while.
Yeah, it could be up here for a long, long time.
Not a bad thing.
No, not a bad thing at all. Last week, guys, as we'll go quickly through it, we found a winner at Adelaide in the maiden. That was a nice win. The pineapple of the week, Tabby Dance, he pulled up with more issues than the Adelaide training camp. So you have to forgive that. But that forgiving horses doesn't pay the bills. But unfortunately, got to move it on to you, Matty.
That's all right. We'll see what we can do. Good to be back too. Unfortunately, I was struck down by COVID. Avoided it for 18 months, but got it for the first time last weekend. So stuck myself in front of the telly and felt sorry for myself while backed a few winners.
Yeah, no, it's getting everyone now. It's striking hot, and I reckon I might be coming home with it. It's running hot up here, mate. Everyone's coughing, splatting.
The joys of holidays.
Yeah, that's it. Buying shares in cash out. I got nothing this week. You got anything, Matty?
No, mate, nothing that I'm going to be adding to the portfolio. I think there might be a few for next week, which we'll run through today. Some very nice races, both up in Sydney and in Melbourne.
Yeah, definitely. Track stats, guys. Roll out 10 metres. As always at Flemington, it's going to be hard for the leaders to win in the circle races. And down the straight, I reckon we'd be looking for horses down the middle to outside. Because I'm live on location, it's hard to get a read on the weather in Melbourne. So it looks like there's a touch of rain around. So I'll be working around on a soft 6 to heavy 8. One thing to know is I reckon if it is soft 6 or worse, they won't be anywhere near that rail. So look for them coming down the middle of the track. Trial trackers, I haven't got anything. I'll mention one that Matty's going to preview. We're previewing races 1, 5, and 9 at Flemington, and race 8 at Randwick, and then a few bets around the ground. So we'll kick things off in race 1 here. As I haven't got all my screens with me live on location, so we're working off mobile. Race 1 is a 3-year-old benchmark 70. The odds, well, we've got Berkeley Square favourite. Bear with me as we load. Yeah, Berkeley Square with tab is $2.30. Then we've got number 9, Proscenium Arch, $5. Number 7, Pelagio, $6. Number 5, Black Max, $6. And we have 13 plus the rest. No surprises here, guys. If you're a regular listener, there's only one horse we need to be with here, and that's number 4, Berkeley Square. It's the horse that if the horse draws a barrier from last start, it just wins. Yes, Alana Kelly made a slight error down the straight, but I feel the barrier cost the horse the race more than the ride. I know people will disagree with that, but that's the beauty of our sport. It's an opinion base, and that's just my thoughts. It was a beautiful run first up, hit the line well. Now we get Craig Williams, who should put this horse in the race. We know it will step slowly, but if Willow can hunt him up and sit behind the leaders, he's going to be beautifully placed, especially being 2 or 3 off. Race 1, we do know that they're going to hug the rail here, so we should get to near the outside into the really good lanes. and run over the top of them. Great jockey booking, great barrier, and I feel this is a serious horse that we can follow in the spring. That's a Berkeley Square. The other horse I do want to mention, if you do like him, I won't talk you out of it, but it is number 7, Pelagio. Drew the middle. If it drew the middle to outside barrier, I would be making this a bet, but worried from barrier 1 at Leeds, it won't be able to leave the rail. Its last win was huge, I thought. Didn't get out of second gear and gapped second. Yes, it was on the synthetic, and synthetic, the turf, is a bad percentage play, but you got to respect that win. They did go very slow that day, so a slow to even tempo might find this horse out too, which is the same case for number 9, Proscenium Arch, who went slow up front, and its win was very, very good. Was pulling away the last 200 metres, and Froggy looked after the horse late. Has good gate speed, and I expect it to lead or sit outside the lead with Pelagio. One thing I noted, the jockey said, he said the horse isn't the finished product and can do a lot wrong. So I wonder, with a touch more tempo, it might do a lot wrong and cost itself the race. Conditions will suit though, so that's number 9, Proscenium Arch, but I'm really keen to be with Berkeley Square. Matty?
Oh, I like that. It definitely was a standout for me, Berkeley Square, in this race as well. Interesting to note, Linda Meach on number 7. How do we pronounce that one? Pelagio?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Pelagio, let's go with that. I would have thought that Jamie Carr might have got the ride on that rather than on Black Max. Was that one that surprised you?
Yeah, I would have thought they would have put her in, or put her on. I just think they're very loyal to Linda. Once she wins on them, I think they look after her, which is a great thing for the sport. She's a great front-running jockey, Linda. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen Jamie on, but you probably would have been taking $4.20 with Jamie Carr tax.
Very true. But look, I think it's a 2-horse race, but like yourself, I do have Berkeley Square in front.
There we go, punters. We're going to tip a winner. Race 1, we're aligning. That's when we align, we know what happens. Race 5, the Aurie Star. Matty, you want to have a look at this?
Yeah, mate. Have you got the odds in front of you, or you want me to run through them?
No, I got them. Number 3, King of Sparta, is $2.60 with the tab. Then we've got Shooting for Gold, $3.90. Number 4, Serious Suspect, $4.60. Number 2, Stageman, $6.50. Carcani Royale, $10, and $13 plus the rest for Just Folk and Romancer.
Very good. Thank you, mate. Look, interesting race, especially given the rail is out 10 metres. So you expect them to be spread fairly across the track here. And I'd imagine, as you mentioned, they'll be looking for the outside rail, so the grandstand rail, and that's where I'll be looking here as well. So you got Romancer, Barrier 7, Serious Suspect, Shooting for Gold, Calcani Royale. They're on the grandstand side. I would expect everyone to be coming across there to get a little bit of cover. From a pace perspective, not a whole lot of pace within the race. Serious Suspect, I think, he's going to be the one that jumps out and is going to be leading the way. Shooting for Gold, Calcani Royale dropping in for cover behind them, and then King of Sparta and Stageman dropping in for cover behind them. In terms of chances for this race, look, it is an open race. If you were just to purely look at the numbers, and there is one clear standout, which is King of Sparta. King of Sparta should be winning this race if it's an evenly run race by half a length to a length. And at roughly that 260 mark would definitely be a bet. What has got me a little concerned is that there isn't going to be much pace. Serious Suspect will jump out, will be in the lead, and probably rack him and stack him a little bit, and probably try and turn it into a little bit of a last 200-metre sit and sprint. So for that reason, I'll run through my top 4 chances. Shooting for Gold. Look, I've been thinking about this one quite a lot. When the markets first came out, I thought it was I thought it was unders. Solid performances up in Queensland. But then when you do have a look at some of the detail behind those races, it is meeting King of Sparta about 4 kilos better off than when it met it a couple of starts back. And it did beat King of Sparta. So that's something to keep in mind. Look, first time down the straight is always going to be a concern. Jamie Carr on board, that may wipe that concern out. But look, I thought it was a touch short in the market. It's going to get a prime run behind Serious Suspect, though. So if it's got that turn of foot across the last 200 metres, it's going to be right at the finish. Just Folk, interesting first up race for it. It'll probably be looking for a little bit further. If there's pace on in the race, which I can't see there being, it might be the one to run over the top of them. It's definitely capable of running the time. I just don't think that the pace within this race really sets it up for success. For all the reasons I've mentioned for Serious Suspect previously, it's in the right part of the track. It's going to be up front, and I can't see anything else competing for the lead. So Serious Suspects is a chance, big chance of going back-to-back down the straight at Flemington. Last chance, King of Sparta, as I mentioned. From a pure numbers perspective, we saw how good it was at Caulfield, and on that day, I wasn't on board, and the main reason was that it was coming from barrier number 1, and late in the day, don't like being barrier number 1 at Caulfield. But realistically speaking, I can see this horse comfortably beating this field if it's an evenly run race and it gets a fair chance. So, Worm, I have to put King of Sparta on top. I can see Serious Suspect winning, and Shooting for Gold looks like it's going to get a very good run. I just have a few concerns, and I believe it's a little bit short in the market. So, Worm, how are you seeing this race?
Yeah, it's no, I'm with you. King of Sparta, I can't get out of my mind that last run. It hunted that line. It wanted the line. They gapped third. Yeah, that was pretty weak, that field, but this ain't much better. They're a little bit better, but I don't know. I think I've got to be with King of Sparta. As we know, I'm Serious Suspect's number 1 fan. I'm probably going to have a saver on him because I just love how he runs up front. He'll, as you said, will go that slow to even tempo. Stageman's the interesting one if you want to take it at 650, coming from Perth, second in the Winterbottom. Will that hold up? Normally the Perth form holds up in Melbourne, so he's definitely got to respect it. The jump out I can't get out of my mind, and I feel it would have been a trial tracker for me, and that's Shooting for Gold. He had one jump out at Flemington. Wasn't down the straight, it was around the circle. It was on a heavy track. He went really, really well. I was really impressed. Yeah, it was one jump out, but he's only coming off a couple of months between his last run, so I don't think he would have been out of work. Gets Jamie Carr, so we get the Jamie Carr tax. But I 100%. Oh, Kokani Royale. He's one that interests me a lot because he was right on that inside that day against Squid Game. Yeah, I thought it was a disadvantage to be there. So he's one that interests me at $10. I reckon you'll get a better price later in the day. But yeah, 100% agree with you with King of Sparta, mate.
Very good. Yeah, interesting Kalkani Royale. Look, I think it was maybe a little bit better suited in the Squid Game race than what it is here. I think this is probably a little bit tougher than potentially that race. Interesting to see how it goes. It's drawn a nice part of the track, and it's going to get a really good toe into the race. So, look, if it improves second up, yeah, it's definitely one at odds to take into consideration.
Yeah, this time last year, 1,100 metres, he finished 2 lengths behind Masked Crusader at Caulfield, Kokani Royale. So,
well, yeah, the horse definitely does have talent.
Yeah, but yeah, second up. We know how we see second up horses, but yeah, King of Sparta right there. WhatsApp guys, I'm going to repeat myself. It's all free, so if you want my tips, my thoughts, on daily Victorian meetings, then DM me to join. Like this product, it is free. The podcast isn't behind any paywalls. You can ask any questions. We'll answer them on air. So please, guys, fire in your questions. We would love to interact with you guys. Yeah, my WhatsApp and thoughts for this podcast is all free. So I think I need to go on holidays more often because we've had a good week for the community, up close to, I think, 6.2 units, only with a handful of bets. We lobbed a 3-legger multi at Cranbourne. So we're seeing them quite well. Plenty of others are posting their bets on for everyone to see. And the last one we saw was someone posted a 200-1 futures bet in the Guineas. I think the end of season podcast trip, we are flying to Vegas if this lobs. So come and join the fun, start winning, DM me to join, because if this one lobs at Caulfield Guineas Day, look out.
I'm glad you mentioned it, mate. It is a perfect time for futures markets now. These are just ones that you put a couple of bucks here and there on. But the WhatsApp group is very abuzz with futures, and I saw a couple coming through for some cups as well. So we know there is a lot of decent mail that goes through that WhatsApp group, and seeing some of these future prospects, definitely time to get involved.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just reading that one you're mentioning. It says, have something on ... at Flemington on Saturday, about $14, and racing very, very well. And then it also went on to say, also have ... running in overseas, en route to Melbourne Cup, should be very hard to beat. So punters, a few of us are on those, and if you don't want to join, you don't want to win. That's my thoughts. But can't, guys. Just DM me to join. It's all free. It's good fun. Race 9 here, guys, is the benchmark 84 1100 meters. We've got the odds here via the tab. We've got Fire here, $2.10. Number 9, Chain of Lightning, $4.40. We then have Squid Game, $6.50, and then double figures the rest. There's no surprises here again, guys. It's like I'm a broken record with this podcast, but got to stick with the winning plays here. Finally, we get to see Squid Game at 1100 meters, which I feel will suit the horse a lot better. It was a nice win last start. To the eye, I didn't like its win. I didn't think it was good, but when I saw the ratings for it, it rated really well and has formed down the straight and keeps Willow too. So that's big ticks for me. This horse keeps improving each start with its data rating and pushing listed to Group 3 stage with those ratings. Looking back at its last start, I thought the horse was only improving late, and the 1100 should suit well. And I can't get out of my mind its last 1100 meter run against Passive Aggression. Flew home, hit the line hard, and I feel $6 or $6.50 now is a really good bet, and you can go even harder the place. Number 1 here, Pass Maltrue. I'll probably butchered it, but we'll go with number 1, the Pass. It's had 2 jump outs and has been really impressed by its jump outs on wet tracks. It's had a 2-year layoff and looks to have come back well. Maybe don't underestimate this horse. Have a little saver on it. David Hayes transferred this from Hong Kong to Melbourne. So that interests me a little bit. So that's number 1. Number 9, Chain of Lightning, was a good win first up, rated well, and then went to Caulfield and won the 2-horse race with no jockeys on board. Definitely keep this horse in your thoughts because it was well backed when it was a late scratching, and I think it has some talent. But first time down the straight, I just don't know. But not going to talk you out of it. Number 10 here, Fire. I don't know if I can dive in at 230. Yes, it was a nice win at Sandown on a track that probably didn't suit. Gave a sharp turn of foot, but its last 100 metres, I wasn't really impressed by it. Was that conditioning giving way, or was it 1,000 metres is its max distance? First time down the straight, 1,100. I don't think it's something I want to be a part of, and I'm happy to push the pink button and take it on with Squid Game and the Pass. Matty?
Don't mind that. Chain of Lightning. How do you see it within this race?
Yeah, its first up win was bloody impressive, rated well. I went after it in its late scratching race. First time down the straight, I don't know. It's got the perfect barrier. It's got the perfect jockey. You're probably getting a good price to find out. That's the best thing because Fire's way unders, I reckon. I reckon Fire should have been around the 330 mark. Yeah, you can definitely back Chain of Lightning if you like it.
No, look, it might be a two-bet strategy for me in this race, and it'll definitely be around Squid Game finally. I gave Paddy Payne a call and just said, thank you, mate. Finally, we've got it out to 1,100 metres where it should be. And he was quite receptive, very good. So Squid Game, Chain of Lightning, I have those two on top. One, just to make sure that you pop into your multiples and quaddies, is number 5, Exeter. Now, fresh horse. I know, I've got it in the black book. Really interested to see D Lane on board. Now, Danny O'Brien rates his horse exceptionally highly and has done ever since it joined the stable. And he said on a number of occasions that it's underperformed. So, look, it might not be on Saturday, and that's why I wouldn't be having anything on it. But I'll definitely just be including it in the quaddies. Number 5, Exeter.
I'm surprised you haven't got a photo in the background of Exeter, mate.
Oh, mate, you were at the Valley that day that we jumped on board, and it led to a very good shout.
Yeah, it did. It's a very honest horse, and yeah, $41. It's
as I said, just make sure that it's in those quaddies because at $41, it's going to be not in a whole lot of quaddies.
I could be cutting up a promo for next week with that. Around the grounds, I'll kick things off. We're going to go back to Adelaide.
Word.
Oh, what?
We got one more, mate.
What's that?
Sydney, race number 8.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Yeah, go.
It's just before you do jump into the arena ground. So, look, in terms of previewing this race, don't worry about going through the odds because what I wanted to do with this race, it's the Missile Stakes over 1,200 metres and a lot of horses coming back for the start. So I wanted to run through a few that I thought had chances, not only for this race, but ones that are going to feature in Group 1s moving forward. Now, there have been a few that have featured in Group 1s in the past, but look, this is one of the strongest races that I've seen in the Missile Stakes in a very long time. So it did take my fancy. So a few that I'll run through, and then I'll let you know where I've landed. I think we might be able to find the winner. But to kick us off, Bellucci Bay. Look, I expect this horse to have a sensational preparation. Again, for this particular race, I'm not seeing much pace in the race. Prime Candidate, Special Reward. From out wide, they might cross and set a little bit of pace. But outside of that, there's not going to be a whole lot. So expect this to be, again, that's over the last 300 metres, dash for the line. And Bellucci Bay might just get a little bit far back from barrier number 3 and might not be able to wiggle its way through. But expect this to be winning some really good races across the next 6 months. I'll say 6 to 9 months. Throw the autumn in there as well. Gem Song, look, again, it'll probably get a little bit too far back. I've probably got this horse a touch below a few of these other ones. It might be your Group 2 style horse for Chris Lees and the team. But it can definitely run a time across this 1,200 metres. So Gem Song, again, one that I'm going to be keeping in the black book moving forward. Forbidden Love. Now, class horse. It is the best horse in this field. Bar none, it can run the best time. Now, where it's drawn barrier number 10, not a huge fan of that. Huey Bowman's not going to have too many opportunities. I wouldn't imagine he's going to want to push this horse too hard. I think it's going to be trapped wide, which isn't ideal. So Forbidden Love, yes, clear favourite, best horse in the race, can run the best time. But I don't necessarily know whether this is the perfect conditions for it. Nimmerley, it's going to be looking for further, but I expect Nimmerley to have a huge campaign. I'm really bullish on this horse for Matty Smith. So look, not for this race, but Nimmerley, pop it in the black book. It'll be in some really big races, and I'll be tipping it moving forward. Where I have landed were 2 horses. Embracer from the Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Watt stable. Now, you've got to go back to last spring because it's only had 1 start since and failed, and it's been out for a spell since. But it's going to progress exceptionally well. What I like about it in this race is it can run a time that I believe is going to be around where you're going to need to be to win this race, but it's going to map in exceptionally well from barrier number 6. It'll get a little bit of cover from those horses coming across, prime candidate, special reward. So I'll see it being in the top 5 or 6 and being right in the finish. And at that $7-8 mark, Embracer, good price. The other one is our top weight, Count de Ruby. Now, looks to get a really good run into this and goes well fresh. So I thought it was a little bit short of the market. I kind of had it closer to that $8-9 mark, but I think the mapping for this race suits it quite well, and it's probably going to run. It's got the ability to run very, very close to a Forbidden Love. So if it's going to be fresh, which it runs well fresh, it's got the ability. You've got to include it. So for me, Worm, it'll be a 2-bet play with Count de Ruby and Embracer.
Yeah, okay. It's one thing when we were talking before the show, how are horses going to come back from the autumn campaign of just constant heavy tracks? Yeah, it's a soft 6 at the moment. So how are they going to come back? Especially like Forbidden Love, you got to take 310. Had 4 to 5 runs on heavy tracks back to back to back. Yeah, it loves it, but 1 jump out, $3.10. Oh, geez. It's a teasing price to find out. You mentioned Bellucci Bay, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, no, Bellucci Bay. Look, I just think it could potentially get a little bit too far back from an inside barrier and might find it a little bit hard to weave through them. But again, it's one that I think is going to improve significantly this preparation. So don't be surprised if with J-Mac on board too.
Yeah.
So realistically, don't be surprised if that's one that we pop into the portfolio this time next week with hopefully it finds a little bit of space and it's hitting the line well.
Yeah, just ran in the TJ last prep, 5 lengths off Nature Strip, finished 4th, SP'd $41. Finished 3rd to Bella Nipotina, who's a nice horse. Shelby 66. Well, we know how good he is. But no, I don't mind. Just a quick look, Bellucci Babe there. And yeah, he's probably going to be too far back, but J-Mac's got a kid on the way, so he's extra hungry to earn some more money.
Got to pay for all those nappies.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. Really, really, really strong race. I'm a big fan of a lot of these horses, so good to see them all matching up against each other.
Yeah. No, good race to put it through and a few in the black book. Around the grounds, take 2, we're going to Murray Bridge. Since I've got a 50% record over there, we're going to go Murray Bridge race 2, number 5, Stern Idol. I have mentioned this horse before. So finally we get to see this horse on the flat. I'm happy to see this horse go around the flat, as I said, because he's a jumping ability. And the way he's been winning, I can't see why he can't bring it to the flat. I feel we have to take a touch of unders, but I'm happy to get involved off its 25 length win and 17 length win victories over the sticks. I wouldn't worry about the Swan Hill run first up over 2,000 plus meters. It looked a sit and sprint job, which it didn't suit. I don't mind seeing Todd Pannell here light the horse up from the 1,200 metre mark, set a solid tempo, make it a true staying test, because he's going against some busted horses here. And that's why Stern Idol in race 2 at Murray Bridge should be winning at around the $4 mark. Matty.
Very nice. I'm going to be staying up in Sydney, race 7, LCO. We popped it into the portfolio a few weeks ago after its decent win up in Sydney, and 440, I'll be taking a piece of that. But in the same race, one that I'm really interested in is Skyman at $10. And I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying, let me just double check that we've got, yeah, we do. We've got McDonald on board for the first time. So I think after a really decent, I mean, if you look at this horse last year, it was kind of doing the country cups in Victoria, and then it had a really nice kind of late autumn, early winter prep up in Sydney. So I think Waller's probably got something decent in mind for this horse. Whether he's going to keep it up in Sydney or bring it back, I'll take it down to Melbourne for the spring. But the 7-year-old, I think, has got a lot to give, and $10 I'm going to have a small piece of it. Again, it might not be first up, but the 1800 metres certainly suits. So Alcyone and Skyman 2-bet strategy in race number 7 were. Race 10 will be going with something that this is one Rupert Star at 20s and $5 for a place. Look, I liked it win a few starts back beating Snow Zone. Last start complete, forget. It was a horrible ride, didn't get clear and had no chance of hitting the line whatsoever. So this might not be its perfect race. It's moving up in class and hasn't got much weight relief, even though it's got a Mitsubishi Magna on board. It does get 2 kilos there, but I prefer it being a little bit lighter in the weights. But at $20 and at $5 for a place, I'll be having to play each way. And I think it's probably got another 2 to 3 starts this preparation. And I'll be on board each and every time if it's paying $20 because I do believe it's got to win, another win this preparation, and I'm going to be on board.
All right, beauty. A few winners around the grounds. Multi, here we go. I'm going to chuck in Berkeley Square the win, and I'm going to chuck in Stern Idol the place. Matty, what are you throwing in?
Are you chucking in Embracer the place and Alcyone the place?
Beautiful. That comes to $13.80. It probably varies with other places, but we've got $13.80 via the tab. Pine-up of the week. Matty, where are we going?
We're going to stick with Melbourne, race number 1. We aligned, and I'll be jumping on Berkeley Square.
Beautiful. There we go. We'll kick off the day around midday. Fill our pockets up early. Nothing else more to add, Matty?
Mate, that's it from me. Cracking day races, really, really cracking day. So looking forward to a few of those races up in Sydney where I think it's going to set a lot of stables up for the spring. So interested to see how they come back. And as you mentioned, fingers crossed we get some sunshine in Melbourne at HQ.
Yeah, we got some in Cairns, mate. So I'd love to share it, but it's too good up here.
I thought I'd lead you into that.
All right, guys. Thank you all for listening. Hope you fill your pockets up. More importantly, I hope me and Matty and I fill up your pockets. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week for, I reckon it's a big day at Caulfield.
Giddy up, Worm.
Yep, giddy up, boys. Have a great weekend.